Welcome to ETF Leaders, powered by the New York Stock Exchange. Joining me today is Art Nowak. He is Vice President of Alger. Art, it is so great to see you. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Now, Art, tell me, what are the biggest opportunities in the markets right now?
Yeah, so at Alger, we think the biggest opportunities right now are in growth equities, particularly in the small cap and mid cap space. And the reason we think that is because of some of the deep valuations, discounts that we're seeing right now. Over the last 20 years, mid-cap growth stocks in general have traded at an 18% premium to the overall market. Right now, they're around a 16% discount. So they're trading about 30% less than they have been over the last 20 years. And that is very similar in the small cap space as well. In fact, the last time we saw valuation discounts this deep was right after the dot-com bubble. And after that, for the 5 years after, mid-cap growth stocks outperformed the overall market by about 30%, and small-cap stocks outperformed by about 65%. So that's an area where we're really excited about is mid-cap and small-cap growth stocks.
All right, so tell me more about growth versus value in equities.
Yeah, so we've been in a long-term secular bull market for the last decade or so. But last year we saw two distinct and I think pretty significant rotations out of growth into value. At the beginning of the year, everybody thought, before Omicron hit, that we were going to have this grand reopening. So people started looking at cyclicals. They started buying, airlines instead of AI companies. They were buying cruise ships instead of cloud computing. So what's happened with growth equities is that the prices have come down significantly, but the fundamentals have only gotten better. So we see some significant PE compression there, and we feel like that might be a coiled spring to get them trading back up to a level where they have been over the past 20 years. At Alger, we think these might be short-term trades, these rotations. And the companies that are growing, that are innovating, we think those are the companies that are going to drive into the future. And so we feel that volatility is really a risk for people who try to time the markets, and not so much for long-term investors. I will say that over the last 10 years or so, even though we've seen these rotations out of growth into value, growth has outperformed value by an average of about 500 basis points a year. So, we're growth investors. We're investing in disruptors and innovators, and that's what we will continue to do.
All right, now Art, do you have a favorite ETF in your lineup?
Yeah, so we talked about the deep discount in mid caps. I think a good way for investors to take advantage of that would be our ETF FRTY. It's the Alger Mid Cap 40 ETF. That's run by Amy Zhang, and she has a team of 7 dedicated analysts. It's a focused, concentrated, actively managed ETF of the best 40 names that Amy can find in the mid-cap growth space. It has high active share, a little bit under 95 right now. So, it's not a benchmark hugger. It's very actively managed, and it is a concentrated. So the top 10 names are about 35% of the portfolio. And so we're excited about the mid-cap growth space, and I think a way to take advantage would be the FRTY ETF.
All right. Art, thank you so much for joining me, and that's ETF Leaders, powered by the New York Stock Exchange.